Well, my friends, we're going to have to discuss this whole Epstein thing. You know, the more they tell us to look the other way, there's nothing to see here. Are we still talking about this? We need to move on. That sounds like the deep state talking. But we really need to clear this up. Stay tuned. Well, howdy, folks. DaveMan here again, Rollman Revolution. Now, we have to discuss something important, and hopefully the audio is coming through this microphone okay. I usually don't use one of these. Usually I have a lapel microphone because I hate having something kind of just blared up in my face while I'm trying to talk to a camera because I move around a lot. But maybe this will force me to stay right here and put. So we'll see what happens. But howdy, folks. DaveMan here again, Rollman Revolution, and we are going to now have to discuss this whole thing, this whole mixed maze of nonsense known as the Jeffrey Epstein case. What I find remarkable about this whole entire thing is the fact that the government of the United States wants all of us to play the utter fool again. They want us to sit back, shut up, just go about our business. We're dealing with all of these other crises right now. We got Texas, we got Ukraine, we got Israel, we got, the war in Iran. We got this economic problem right here, right? So they don't really want us to discuss Jeffrey Epstein. That's just an old issue. That happened years ago. Those things have been taken care of. The guilty party was either murder, suicide, and then the other guilty party, well, she's sitting in prison for what? Again, who is charged and who is the victim, and what did we discover about all of these things? The problem with the Jeffrey Epstein case is that too many people have volunteered so much information, and then that information seems to change as time goes on. And then the moment you start to mention the words Israel, Mossad, CIA, intelligence services, presidents, dignitaries, leadership, people of power and influence. Once you say words like that, everybody who has been associated with this government for the past 25 years, their asshole puckers up like a snare drum. And you know rightfully well that these people don't fear easily. But over this case, they fear something very, very big. Now, why is that? Why do you have proponents, these pro-Israel type speakers, conservatives, going out there right now saying that there's nothing to see here? You heard them. You heard Donald Trump. There's nothing to see here. They released everything. The final say-so from the FBI and the DOJ is that there are no tapes. There is no black book. There is no video. This was just a figment of everybody's imagination. It was a big 4-year investigation into nothing. This man was just a troubled human being who liked young women and liked to and had all of this money. And we don't know how he got all this money, but he kind of like shit out of nowhere, and he was just all of a sudden this, what's that guy? Juan Valdez, the most interesting man in the world, right? He's the Dos Equis guy. All of a sudden, Jeffrey Epstein becomes the Dos Equis guy. He's that guy. Ooh, he's over there with the mustache and the toothpick. And ooh, that guy's been around. You know that guy's been around because you see that toothpick there? Jeffrey Epstein played the part of a pimp. And his whole goal, according to what I see, and again, I'm a nobody. I'm just this everyday, dumb, mouth-breathing American, right? But the way it looks to me, with all of my years of living and dealing with bullshit, well, what it looks like to me is that Jeffrey Epstein, maybe somewhere in his past, did something he probably wasn't supposed to do. But rather than punishing this man for that, they said, well, we can utilize him. This guy obviously has a motivation, and, the CIA loves people. The intelligence services love people who have a motivation to do something that may be illegal, but they have a motivation to do something, and they're going to do it so well, and they need somebody at that moment in the operation to do their bidding for him. I believe Jeffrey Epstein was hand-selected, utilized to get dirt on so many high-level officials in order to make sure that those officials played the game the the way this deep state apparatus needs them to. You see, the biggest problem with government and government entities, when they get to the size that they have in the United States and many of the other countries around the world, when they get too large, they become very, very difficult to manage. Why? Because you have too many people in there running the gambit and thinking that they can do whatever the hell it is they want to do. And many a times, that's exactly what happens. You know, the CIA is by far gotten America involved in more conflicts. They create these disasters and problems. Like for instance, they would go into, let's say Nicaragua, for instance, and they go down there knowing that there's all this bit of unsettlingness. Now, this is in the 1980s, okay? But they go down there, and there's all the drug trafficking going on there. The people of the country themselves recognize what's going on there. But rather than, trying to, make it look like we're the bad guys, no, what we do is we go in there and we all finance maybe an opposition party, give them all of the things that we need, and maybe start a little tussle up there, and then make the country themselves explode from within. You see, the CIA has been very, very good at laying the depth charges so that the people themselves will just walk upon them and they just go boom. So they set the trap. Their job is to set the trap, set the drama in play. And they've done so very successfully for decades and decades and decades now. See, the tipping point for me was 9/11, okay? I was just as ignorant as most people at that time, but as time went on, not right out the gate, 2001, I was just on board like most people. Yeah, we got to get these son of a bitches, bad guys. And then as the story came out and as more documentaries started coming out, and then I started looking at the engineers, and then I started looking at how buildings are made, and then I started looking at how planes are made and how much fuel. I started doing all of the science work, all of the real investigative work that most people who were really interested in that stuff at the time did. And anybody who has researched 9/11 properly will tell you that the official narrative given by our government is complete and utter bullshit. But yet, that is still considered the official story, and it's still the story that they can continue to tell the children in school and everybody else growing up as to what actually happened that day. But the official story is complete and utter nonsense, just like the Kennedy assassination is complete and utter nonsense. And as you can see, there is a pattern at play here. The same entities, the three-letter agencies, all seem to be involved in some of the most major scandals and coups we've had in this country, and yet they still exist. The CIA, like Jack Kennedy once said, should be shattered into 1,000 pieces. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, the United States government, which has 17 intel agencies and one head, Tulsi Gabbard is the head of national intelligence. So that means all of the intelligence bureaus are supposed to funnel their intelligence to her, and then she is supposed to have a briefing of what each services are doing and what are the major events and what are the... But to be honest with you, do you honestly think that those intelligence services are telling Tulsi Gabbard or any of the leads, especially in the black projects, need-to-know projects, that, what the CIA is kind of doing, what they're spying on, who they're trying to get, fabricated evidence against, who they're trying to set up? I mean, does anybody understand the level of reach, arms, and capabilities of these agencies? And there's minimal oversight. That has been the problem with our country and everything that has been going on. You want to know why we're broke, why Americans are suffering, why all of this stuff doesn't make any sense. We're going to war here. We're going to war here. The money just seems to disappear. We're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, and we have leadership that doesn't seem to know what the hell to do about it, and they don't care, and they're not even trying to figure out the problem, right? They just keep spending more money, right? But as you can see, the reason why nothing ever changes is because most of those people that you have in these leadership positions have been compromised many, many years ago by the likes of guys like Jeffrey Epstein and other intelligence assets that find ways to get control over the people in these departments or in these leadership positions, so that if they step out of line or do something that is against what this apparatus has been trying to accomplish for decades, if you try to get in their way, they will find something that you hold dear and they will squeeze on it. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, I told you the only way that the tactics work against this operation is to do exactly the same thing. You have to find what this deep state holds dear, and you have to squeeze and expose it. What these people cannot handle is exposure, which is why the Epstein case is by far the most interesting and most important case that we're never going to know the truth about. I said during the Biden administration, there may be some files and there may be some secrets and there may be videotapes and lists and all that stuff as related to Jeffrey Epstein. The downside of this whole thing is that you and I will probably never get to see it because the implications of who is involved and how deep this goes and the connections to many governments around the world who knowingly participated, knowingly put people in harm's way, knowingly set people up to knowingly push the direction or agendas of countries around the world. Jeffrey Epstein, like him or not, like this case or not, is much bigger than the underage minors that he was peddling. It's much bigger than just the stuff that they show you at the surface that they say doesn't exist. No, Trump administration. If you want to continue to play stupid games, okay, MAGA is going to call you out. And the things that you believe you have control of, that back pocket control, oh, MAGA's in my pocket. Nobody thinks for me. Nobody thinks for so many Americans. And you know what? The good thing about America is they're finally starting to realize that it's not us that's the problem. It's this that is the problem. The larger this government has gotten, the larger and the more departments that this government conceptualizes, the worse our nation gets. As you can see, anytime something gets to a point where it is too hard to manage, the outcome becomes the same. It happens in business. It happens in families. It's so hard to manage a government of this size. And you want to know why America, not American people per se, but the America idea is hated by so many other countries just because the United States has been backing and supporting Israel blindly. But then when you find out why so many of the United States representation supports Israel blindly, you'll see that AIPAC, the American Israel Political Action Committee, lobbies majority of your leadership to get them to do what we need them to do. You have people that will just jump on a grenade for a country and they'll let them do whatever they want to do, no questions asked. That means you're working for another government. You're not working for America. And this is where it comes full circle for me. The fact that the Trump administration, an administration that I trusted, an administration that I had voted for several times, an administration that I had spoken out for many, many times. And there's so much good that this administration is doing, but all of it will make zero sense and have zero impact once one lie and one purpose misdirection is done. We're already walking on eggshells as a country. Nobody trusts anyone. You have groups of people in this country who have been completely and utterly destroyed mentally from the verbal diarrhea that our mainstream media has promoted for decades, causing division after division after division. And now, finally, when the United States has had a movement that started from the grassroots, people just getting sick and tired of being screwed around. And this is working class, which is majority of the United States citizens, all races, creeds, colors, religions, all of it. People had enough, and they didn't know where to go. So we're looking for the foundational things, basic understandings. What do we stand for? We stand for making America families first, American citizens first, putting everybody who is here, paying the taxes here, busting their rear end to make their lives and the lives of the people around them better. That's the people we should be looking out for. And then you take a look at the representation that we've had, and you go, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. How are these people been in these jobs for so many years, yet my life continues to get worse? Well, the reason why that happens is because you've been asleep. And now that this movement has awakened, there's a lot of assumptions going on. A lot of assumptions going on by the government in charge. And I'm saying that if you do not stay true to your campaign promises, stay true to the words that you say, that means your word is useless and people will not care. We are already walking on eggshells, and the only way to create union is through full transparency. That was a statement made by this administration that we will not lie to the American people. We will let the cards fall as they may. And for the most part, they've kept that promise. But this is one little sneaky little, I don't know what you want to call it. This case involving Jeffrey Epstein seems to be the Achilles heel of our government and many of the folks who are embedded in this government. I don't care if they are on those tapes or in those books. That information belongs to the American people. And if you are not willing to share that information and let the cards fall as they may, I can guarantee you the base that you believe you have, the movement that you believe is on your side or in your court, will abandon you. Will abandon you, not because you haven't done anything good, not because you haven't done some great things. They're abandoning you because if you're willing to lie about something like this, and we know for a fact that it's bullshit, what else are you willing to lie to us about? I've said it before on this show, and I will continue to keep saying it, is that the lies are what has destroyed this planet. I mean, that is the very reason why we are imprisoned. And I have several other videos on my channel that I highly recommend people look at. One is called The Program. The other one is called The Prison. And it will basically break down exactly what it is I'm talking about as to the ideas of how Americans and how the world gets to where it is through this constant repetition of programming. But for those who do not see how vital this Epstein case is and why it is not going to go away and why many within MAGA or in alternative media are still fighting on this topic is because it will expose the deep state for truly who they are. Because once that list or that information becomes readily available, now everybody starts to save their own ass. Now everybody's going to start throwing each other under the bus. Now you're going to start to see their cockroaches come out because now you've disturbed their nest. They have no safety ground. They have no platform or anything to hide behind. You've exposed them all. Now they're standing there looking for a way out. The way you win this war against the deep state is through full, honest transparency and truth. So my recommendation to the President of the United States, if I had one opportunity to sit down and talk to you, you have done amazing things. You have done more in 5 months and in your career as a politician than most presidents, well, any president in my lifetime and most presidents we've had throughout American history. But all that can be shadowed with one major mistake. You know, all of your successes, all of your wonderful reactions to the problems America faced will go unnoticed. Because what people remember are those bad things that truly impacted them, truly had an effect and couldn't understand why. People do not like being lied to, especially when they know they are being lied to. And with this Epstein case, anyone who has spent just a little bit of time looking at all of the information that has been passed out and exposed over the course of these several years will tell you that release that came out of the White House or out of the Trump administration the other day is complete and utter bullshit. You have an ineffective Department of Justice. You have an FBI that seems to be having one arm tied behind their back because they can't get to the bottom of really what's going on in those apparatuses because those apparatuses have gotten too large. My suggestion to the president is to remove all 17 intel agencies, narrow them down to the only essentials, and then move all of that intel work over to the United States military branches, which have a chain of command and full congressional oversight. No more of these black ops projects, which have minimal eyes on them. We must have an elected representative who is involved in every operation that this government spends money in. There are no rogue operations anymore. That's the reason why Ukraine continues. That's the reason why stuff happens in the middle of the night without even the president's knowledge. You have too many hands in the cookie jar, too many people with access, and too many people who think the president of the United States is just a passing by figure. We don't care. When this person leaves, we're just going to go on with our business and do whatever the hell we want to. The CIA and many of the other rogue agencies have been doing this for years, which is the reason why they must be dissolved. 100%. No more CIA. We don't need it. The United States military is fully capable of handling all national, international intelligence operations, and you know it. We don't need the CIA. Never did. Kennedy was right, and he gave his life for what he truly believed. What is this administration willing to do? We only have these 4 years to make an impact, because after this, I can guarantee you, they will never allow anybody even remotely close like Trump to get close to the ballot. They will find a way, just like they do in Mexico, to eliminate any candidate that tries to look like they're going to make some changes. No, the only way we're ever going to defeat this is if we do it now. Full exposition. Let those cards fly. And when you do, you will watch the bee's nest. There will be so much chaos, which is exactly what this network of criminality needs. We need to rip it up, toss it up, shake it down, and start over. The Epstein files are not going away. The Epstein files will be the linchpin in discovering where the dirty little hands of this deep state goes. I continue to hope that you will share this information, give it a thumbs up, but also do your own due diligence. Do not let people tell you what to think. Know why you believe what you believe. Investigate these things. Do not let your government just say, you know what, we're going to just tell them whatever the hell they want to, and we're moving on. Like hell you are. Like hell you are. Because most people are tired of the bullshit. And I am one of them. And I have no patience anymore. I can't even listen to it. So stop wasting your time. Do the right thing. Otherwise, the people will. And that's my message. All right, my friends. Like I said before, I'm going to be doing these political videos from time to time. But in the meantime, check out my other ones. I got another smackhat dandy coming out here for you real soon. It's going to involve a little bit more about this matrix world we're living in. And I think you're going to like that one too. But please, give it a like, give it a share, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about this Epstein case in the comments below. I really like to know what other people... Am I the only one that thinks this is complete and utter stupidity? It blows my mind that you have an administration that has done a lot of really good things, but on the one thing that everyone knows as a parent who's looked at it, nope, you guys are all morons. You have no idea what you're talking about. This never happened. Nothing ever happened because Israel's involved. Don't go. Look the other way. Don't. Benjamin Netanyahu's coming. You think we're that stupid? Okay. Well, you're going to find out exactly what the people really, really know about this. This is going to hurt if you continue down this line. Bondi needs to go, or you need to get a special prosecutor in there as soon as possible to do an independent investigation into anything. The elections, everything that's going on with DOJ, Epstein, their JFK assassination, all of it. You need somebody in there who's not connected to all this, who can just start subpoenaing stuff, and they need to start getting information. Start asking questions to all these people again. Start, interrogating all of the people that were supposedly on these lists. I'm sure if you push the right buttons and you set the right actions in motion, you're going to start to see this whole situation crumble. But you have to have balls in order to do that. You can't play this game with the deep state anymore. You can't play the 3-card Monty with the American people. I really wish this administration would stop looking into the camera, going on Fox News, or going on some podcast and just bullshitting to the American people, because it's going to destroy everything you've built. So stop. All right, my friends, I'll talk with you soon. I'll see you in the next one. It's going to be a good one. See you then. Peace.